It is that fundamental belief, I am my brother's keeper, I am my sister's keeper, that makes this country work. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Some people are divided by religion, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some people are divided by their greed, yeah. Some people are divided by deception, yeah. Oh, yeah. Some have a lot of money but still in need, yeah. The time has come to help your hurting brother. Time has come to think about your sister. Can't turn a blind eye to their need, yeah. Share some love to help your hurting brother. Share some love to help your fallen sister. One God, one faith, one destiny, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Whoa, whoa, yeah. Well, everything around us is changing, yeah. Nothing will ever be the same, yeah. Limitless scope for transformation, yeah. Yet no one has the answer for the pain, yeah. Selfishness and greed have many blinded. Heartlessness has many people suffering. Why can't we see our brothers' pain, yeah? Children are hungry and they are crying. Mothers are hurting and they are sighing. Yet all we care about is gain, yeah. It's time for unity, yeah. Deception is tumbling down, live in unity, yeah, yeah. Division must be broken down, unite in dignity, yeah. United under God we stand. Unity is power for all. Time for unity, yeah.
Things are falling apart much faster than you can imagine. If you do not take immediate steps now to save yourself, it will get very serious very quickly. We must come together now to save ourselves economically, socially and spiritually. You must find a strong support system while you can, because things are falling apart fast. Be smart. Let us come together to survive the perilous days ahead. This is not about who you are, or what you have. When the day is over, you will be left to face the harsh reality alone. The days of segregation are over. Don't wait until trouble set in and you find yourself up against the wall. Get registered with Lifeline today to secure support before you need it. Lifeline is not only the support giant of the BVI. Lifeline is the family you need to help you through the difficult days ahead. Don't be foolish. Nothing will get better. Save yourself now before things turn for the worst. Become a registered member of the Lifeline family now and we will help you through the challenging days ahead. You can depend on us. find us at 4 Mill Mall or call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Okay, good evening, and welcome to another episode of the Raw Truth. And of course, it's another Monday evening where we look at some very important matters across the Caribbean region, and quite interesting as well as we feature another very interesting presentation in relation to what is happening over there in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's very interesting as you watch what is happening in the across the Caribbean region, and you look at the whole development. Is like everyone realized that something is happening, but many are not even sure as to what is happening, and as a result, by virtue of the fact that not many people are even aware of what is happening worldwide to a certain degree, because it now becomes a very interesting matter as we examine the developments as they drift towards the Caribbean region. I find that very interesting. Very unaware, it seems to me, that most of us are about what is happening in the region. And when the day is over, I wonder how much longer will we be sitting in limbo as things fall apart around us in no uncertain terms. I was watching a video the other day, and I was told the gentleman who was doing the presentation was very candid in his presentation, as he outlined very, very, very frankly that the Caribbean region is in serious trouble. I'm not sure if many of us understand how serious this is, but it is not anything to take lightly, as the people continue to fight for what they think is right, to fight for what they want for themselves and their families and their children, to fight to protect their inherent right, their unalienable right or rights moving forward. This seems to have become a very interesting matter as we look at what is happening across the region, and by virtue of the inability of the people to even understand the seriousness of the shift, as everything across the world now takes a very, very serious position moving forward. I think we now need to get to the place where we understand very, very clearly exactly what is happening around us. As you watch us, please share this live. We're on. If you're watching us from YouTube, if your friends can join us via YouTube or Facebook, wherever we are, please share this with all your friends, because this is going to be a very interesting presentation. We have some very interesting guests coming on out of St. Vincent, and what is happening in St. Vincent again? Well, it never stops. St. Vincent seemed to be a very interesting place for the latest developments as we continue to watch what is going on in that country. Very interesting, and this is not to be taken lightly. If you're watching us, please share this live with your friends, because we will be tapping into the latest developments across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I think that it will get very interesting as we feature two very important people as they outline to us some of the plans that are coming on out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Until we get back, let me ask you to share this live with your friends. And of course, by the time we get back, I'm sure we'll have our guests on the live. So we're back in a minute. Share the live. Welcome back to The Raw Truth. And of course, tonight again, this evening again, we have two guests out of St. Vincent. I'm not sure exactly what the magnitude of the situation is down there. I've been watching a lot of protests happening in St. Vincent, and it seems to me that many people are not necessarily quite happy about what has been happening in their country. It's very interesting to see this. Like everywhere else in the world, it seems the Caribbean region is waking up to the reality that many of us are facing. And of course, many of us are saying to hell, no, we don't want any more of this. Very interesting. Share this, because tonight is going to be very interesting as we look at some of the things that are happening in St. Vincent and the steps that will be taken moving forward as our people becomes very resolute in relation to what is happening there in St. Vincent. Let me go to Miss Nelia John. I'm not sure if she's prepared to give us a as to what is coming, and I'm sure there's another guest, Nikisha Williams. I'll be talking with her in a minute, but let me get to Miss Nelia John, so we can get get a glimpse into what is happening at that level, of the program. We won't be able to hear you if you are not on, Miss John. So I know you. Yes, good. Free up everything so we can hear you and talk with you, Miss John. She's not coming on live in like person, but she is, because she's not necessarily too what's the word should I use? To appear live, but I'm sure she'll be able to talk with us a little bit as to what is happening there. Good evening, Miss John. Talk with us. How are you doing?
Hi, good evening. Thanks so much for having me on the program, Kenny. My name is Nyla John, and I'm one of the founders of Rise Hiruna. Rise Hiruna is a group that started protest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines about 2.5 months ago. About 2.5 months ago. We started protesting because of a situation where there is a sitting senator by the name of Ashel Morgan, and also a deputy DPP, which is the deputy director of public prosecution in St. Vincent, who were named in a shooting incident which involved a man, Mr. Cornelius John. He named them as coming onto his property, trespassing, along with a third person, and he was shot in the leg. He has stated that it was Karim Nelson who shot him in the leg, and the senator, she took a gun and held it to his face and told him that she would kill him if she said she would shoot him if he called her name in his mouth again. And so we started protesting because of the fact that the sitting senator was continued to be allowed to sit in the House of Parliament, and she has not been asked to resign. She's not been asked to step down. And we believe that if we don't keep this issue alive, that everything is just going to go under the rug, like everything else that has been happening in St. Vincent. And of course, we are also protesting on Thursday, this coming Thursday, in front of the House of Parliament, 9 a.m. sharp. We're asking everyone to come out. There's also the issue of where the government is trying to mandate vaccination. I'm not against people being vaccinated. I'm fully vaccinated here in the United States, but I believe that people should have the right to choice. No one forced me to be vaccinated, so I do not believe people should be mandated. And of course, there's a number of other issues that are happening in St. Vincent. I think I've given quite an airful there. And I have on the program here, as you know, Kenny is the public relations officer of Rise Haruna. She's on the ground in St. Vincent, and she'll be out protesting with the other members of Rise Haruna on Thursday. So maybe we can hand it over to Nikisha Williams, and she can give us insight from the ground.
All right. Well, let us go to Miss Nikisha Williams at this point. Open your open up, honey. Open everything. Let's talk. I'm not sure where we are. Come on live. We need to see you live, then direct. We're not hiding behind any curtains tonight. This is going to be a very, very serious presentation. And when the day is over, we are here to make it known as to what in the name of God is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
Not a joke at all. Let me welcome you. Let me welcome you to the Raw Truth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me.
What is really happening in St. Vincent? Talk with us. Tell us what in God's name is going on down there.
In St. Vincent right now, we are a nation of persons who we're very disgruntled with a number of issues that has been happening in our country. For one, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we experienced a volcanic eruption April 9th, 2021. A number of countries they've pledged aid, they've donated, and all these things. And the first thing we saw is that unless you're basically carrying a party flag, you persons who are affected from the volcano's eruption, they have not been receiving much aid. You know what I mean? We had persons that were in the shelters, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on sheets or whatever that were donated. I myself worked at a shelter, and what we found is that our shelter was supplied primarily by private donors, whereas NEMO and the government pretty much did very little. We would have been speaking out on issues such as that. And as Nyla so correctly mentioned, the Cornelius John situation has a lot of persons very, very upset. The mandatory vaccination of employees by number of business places also brings to light a burning issue for many Vincentians, because we believe that vaccination should be a choice. It should not be forced upon anyone. And these are just a couple of the things. So persons have been happy that Rise Haruna has definitely not let these issues die, because normally that is exactly what happens. We have an issue, and after we say after 9 days, that's the term that we use here. After 9 days talk, it's gone again. But we have been able to keep these issues on the front burner, and persons have continued to lend their support, lend their voices, and so on. And we continue to champion the causes of persons who basically cannot or don't have an alleyway to voice their concerns. The government in itself, they have been very silent on a number of issues. And on some issues, such as vaccination, they have been putting things in place that enable employers to send people home or fire persons, suspend people and whatever. The government themselves have been trying to force vaccination on their workers by way of nurses having to pay for their COVID tests if they choose not to vaccinate, and all sorts of things. We find these things to be highly offensive, and as a people, we won't stand for things like this.
Tell me something, because now you it seems to me that there's a playbook. Um, the, and we're going to take it in small sized bites this evening so people can understand this correctly.
Mhm.
It seems to be a playbook happening across the world, and St. Vincent is no less a part of this madness.
Mhm.
And when the day is done,
That's good.
all of this, based on constitutional law, based on based on all laws, if you ask me,
Mhm.
the people are being violated at all levels when you understand this thing. And when
Very
the day
true.
is over, and when the day is over, and some of us might be watching me very, 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 I'm going to try to be very nice and try to find the right adjectives to describe some of this madness, because I think it's absolutely very offensive. Yes? You watch what is happening across the Caribbean region, and I am wondering if all the leaders across the Caribbean have taken a shot of white rum or 2 or 3 overnight and wake up drunk as hell, because nothing, I'm as serious as hell, nothing that we have taken to be decent all our lives in the Caribbean region, nothing that was constitutional. Share this live. I wanted to share it because we have St. Vincent on tonight, and this is going to be a very serious discussion. Not absolutely nothing that has been established as decent, nothing that was established as right. All hell has broken loose since 2019, and all of this has been thrown out through the window. Right? Now our people across the world, our people across the world are now set to deal with a system which is set to exploit the rights, the unalienable rights of every living human being living in the world as we speak. And I'm relating tonight especially to our political leaders across the Caribbean region who are voiceless, have no balls, and in many cases have no dignity to stand up for their people across the Caribbean region. And I find it absolutely offensive that the people who have voted these people into office are currently becoming victims of the system. Now, while we understand exactly what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, because you are a citizen of St. Vincent, I may say, are you?
That's correct.
Yes. You're having a hell of a time down there with your prime minister and the system there that is set to not only disregard your rights as a people, but now politicians themselves and people in the courthouse are turning on the citizen and planning to shoot who if you open your mouth and talk and nothing is coming out of it and everything else is falling apart and nobody can talk about it. And everybody's watching them pretending to be cute and nice when everybody's bawling like hell. Now you tell me something. When the day is over, and you might think I'm crazy tonight, but this is the raw truth. Welcome. When the day is over in St. Vincent, madam, you look at this madness. Where are the people in relation to what is going on in St. Vincent? Talk to us.
The people. Well, you see, what we have in St. Vincent is the government has somehow managed to create a society that is very fearful of what can happen if they do something. You know what I mean? Persons' victimization runs very, very rampant in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You have persons who would lose their jobs. There are persons who get demoted, persons who would have their family members not be promoted. It runs very, very rampant. And
hold on. Ease up at that point for me. Let me ask you something. You don't have a courthouse in St. Vincent?
Yes, we do.
Is it working? You have judges in there and lawyers in there?
To be quite honest, my dear sir, the legal system is somehow, it seems as though, in my opinion, the legal system is always in favor of the government.
Hold on. Are there judges at the privy? Let us take it one step higher. Do you have privy council judges? Are they available?
We do the privy council judges, but then by the time things get to the privy council, the amount of money that a person may have to shell out, they may not necessarily have that kind of money. You understand? So a lot of these issues that have been happening are not affecting so much the upper class, but we're looking more at middle and lower class persons who are suffering under the hands of this government.
So because you don't have money, you don't get justice. Is that what it has boiled? Is this what it has come to?
It has always, yes, absolutely.
I better behave myself tonight because I always remember you remember Nanny and the Maroons in Jamaica. You remember them, right?
Of that story. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you must be well read. Nanny and the Maroons in Jamaica, when Britain decided to steal their land, mm-hmm. They said, "Not by the hair of our chinny chin chin will we allow you to come in here." and
that's right.
And who didn't jump in hole get string up by all kind of crap and all kind of stupidness, and now the Maroons enjoy. They enjoy their sovereignty in a place called Maroon Town in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. When people become resolute about their own status quo, their own survival. Listen, government is nothing without people. I'm not sure when we have gotten to a place of such ignorance, because the government you have in place could never have been there if you did not put them there. A government is nothing without people. Right?
That's correct.
People dictate the term of government, and until we understand that this is what is happening, we're all a bunch of fried snails, crisp, to be eaten by those who want to eat them. Right? A government is nothing without people, and when you put a government in office, you dictate to them what you want. You don't allow them to tell you what the hell they want to tell you. You tell them what you want. That's your right.
That's how it should be.
You are the government as a people. And when you put a premier or a prime minister or whatever in hell you call them, they're accountable to you. You don't make them tell you what the hell they want to tell you and do to you what they want to do when you sit down bawling. Why like you're stupid? Is it that you're really so stupid if that's the case? You understand what I'm saying? So people have to get to the place where we begin to now look beyond what is practical, beyond what we see as practical, beyond what we know to be practical, because there's a lot behind what we think we know that we don't know. When it comes to law, when it comes to our function, when it comes to defending ourselves, when it comes to demanding that government function in a particular way, there's a lot more behind the curtains that a lot of us do not know, and as a result of our ignorance, governments continue to exploit us. Now you look across the world in Paris and all the other places, tens of thousands of people are marching like hell. And when the day is done, okay, they have to send a message. My question is that enough? Because when the march is done, back to square one.
Next.
Now you tell me.
That's right.
There is something coming up in St. Vincent, and you want to get the attention of your Vincentian population, and the attention of the Prime Minister in St. Vincent and his government. Tell us what is coming so we can understand it. Talk with us.
We have been organizing protest action from the moment we found out about the Ashel Morgan situation, and we've been trying to get the people of St. Vincent to come out as well and show their displeasure. But we in St. Vincent, we have been, sad to say, cowardly, hiding behind conversations in the dark, and we susu here, we susu there. But to get the people out on the streets to demonstrate and to show how displeased they are, that has been proven to be quite difficult. A lot of, like I said,
why is it so difficult for people to understand that this is about them sending a strong message to the people who they put in office to protect their own status quo? What is so difficult about that?
Well, well, you see what happened in St. Vincent, my dear sir, is that instead of teaching people to fish, the government has given a little fish here, a little fish there. People are concerned that their little fish is going to be cut off. You know what I mean? When you have able-bodied
Oh,
persons being put on welfare and strong men and women and so on, put on the welfare to collect money every month or so for their son or themselves, their child, whatever, you find them not wanting to save very much that would cause any disturbance to their provider. You also have oh, he gave me a scholarship, oh, he gave me daughter a scholarship, oh, he been give me brother a walk or something like that, and it is always. Yes, yes. The excuses are so ridiculous that they're just what they're laughable. They're laughable. They to me it's a joke. It's utter joke here in St. Vincent. You know what I mean? People are telling you me I work with so and so, me not able, die only me not nobody forgive me not now, whatever. And people are honest to God, fearful, because what they have done is that they would have taken this person or that person and made an example out of them. So a lot of persons are they don't want that to be them. They don't want that judgment to come down on them or their relative or their children or whatever. So they prefer to not say anything at all.
well, I tell you what. I tell you what this is gonna do to Vincentian people, and I'm gonna say this very sadly. The little fish and bread that they're hanging on to from Ralph or whoever else down there that they're hanging on this from. The fish and bread is gonna dry up. The fish and bread is gonna dry up because the money soon done, and when the money done. And when the fish done and the bread done, what you gonna do if you have been compromised so bad that you allow these people to put you in a position where you cannot even function? What you gonna do? It is not unique to St. Vincent. It is not unique to the BVI or the USVI or Trinidad or Jamaica. It is not unique. It seems to be the status quo of the day for people to hold their peace and play nice and cute while they're being victimized and say nothing, hoping that they will not offend anyone, because if they talk out, somebody might get offended. And when people get offended, the fish and the bread
Then
will stop.
you have to pay. That's right.
But at the same time, isn't this an endless degree of stupidity? Because when the day is done and you're exploited and your rights are taken away and you're left with nothing, and the same people who you're afraid of in the first place cannot help you anyway because they now become your enemy, what are you going to do?
I honestly believe Vincentians are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. That's where they have fallen in love with their abusing. I have no other explanation for it. You know what I mean? You've been put down so many times that you get to a place like this must be their way of showing love. So you basically all common sense gets knocked out the door, and all you're left with is this. I mean, St. Vincent it has to get better. There are people here that will not stand for the condition in which our islands have been, the slope that our island has been sliding down very quickly. We will not stand for it. We know what the true democracy is, and this is not democracy. You have at one of our protests, we had the police brutalizing a number of protesters. We have videos and so on with all of this, and yet still you would see when we post these things, you would see persons commented. Even the person that was taking the video was very much supportive of the abuse of their own fellow citizen by the police. So tell me if that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. You can't be celebrating the beating of persons protesting by police officers and be right in your head, especially when the issues that are being protested directly or indirectly affects you. So I don't know.
No, well, look, again, you just mentioned it earlier. The fish and the bread is being shared. When the day is done, everybody get a fish with a little slice of bread and a little sugar and water with it. And maybe when the day is done, you get 50 cents on top of that. And you get a nice little place to sleep. And you're lucky if your roof not leaking, you're lucky. Because that's at most that you'll get.
If your roof is leaking, they might just give you a few sheets of galvanized, because they are known for things like that as well.
Okay, so if so if the roof is leaking, you get a few sheets of galvanized, and that is all your life is worth. A few sheets of galvanized, a fish with a slice of bread and a glass of sugar and water. Not even a nice, decent glass of drink, because whatever you get is not even worth it. And that is what our people are satisfied with.
Not even
is that
water. Yeah? That's what it is. Sadly.
Listen,
sadly.
I'm gonna take a short break and come right back. Share this live. It's gonna get very interesting. We'll come back in a moment.
Things are falling apart much faster than you can imagine. If you do not take immediate steps now to save yourself, it will get very serious very quickly. We must come together now to save ourselves economically, socially and spiritually. You must find a strong support system while you can, because things are falling apart fast. Be smart. Let us come together to survive the perilous days ahead. This is not about who you are or what you have. When the day is over, you will be left to face the harsh reality alone. The days of segregation are over. Don't wait until trouble set in and you find yourself up against the wall. Get registered with Lifeline today to secure support before you need it. Lifeline is not only the support giant of the BVI. Lifeline is the family you need to help you through the difficult days ahead. Don't be foolish. Nothing will get better. Save yourself now before things turn for the worst. Become a registered member of the Lifeline family now, and we will help you through the challenging days ahead. You can depend on us. Find us at 4 Mill Mall or call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. You're listening to the Raw Truth, and of course, this is your Monday evening program, every Monday evening at 8, right here on PSI Network, as we broadcast across Facebook, YouTube, all the social media platforms that you might be accustomed to. We are here as we bring you some very interesting developments across the Caribbean region and the rest of the world. Again tonight, St. Vincent is in the focus as we open to you the latest developments happening there. I think St. Vincent has always been in the hot seat. I'm not sure what the hell is happening in St. Vincent, but Vincentians are having a hell of a time in their own country as their prime minister and that regime is set to destroy every fabric of decency in that community. I hear people cry and mourn and wail as girls cannot even walk decently in St. Vincent again. As they grow up and put on a little breast and a little butt, they become a threatened species. Huh? Now people can't even live a decent life, because now you're talking about things are happening, they can't even talk about it, and if they talk, they're victimized. Is this now become the modus operandi across the Caribbean region, in all Caribbean territories, all overseas territories in the Caribbean region? Has this become the norm, where governments exploit people because they talk about the things that are affecting them? When have our governments become so darn heartless to the place where they do not? Has government become the enemy of the people? Is this where we are? What other conclusion can we come to? If people cannot speak how they feel, and government does not take offense to it, because it is understood that people reserve the right to express how they feel, it is their God-given, unalienable right to do so. If they're hurt or offended or exploited, our people reserve the right to speak. When have we become a bunch of barbarians to the point where if our people, the same people who our people put in office to serve them, to manage their affairs, are now become a draconian set of infidels, I put that in quotes, where they're now abusing their people relentlessly, and the people cannot speak about it. And if they do, it becomes an offense to them. When have we become such a bunch of barbarians as leaders, especially within the Caribbean region? I have an amazing lady with us this evening. And I'm going to ask you to share this live. If you're wherever you're listening from, please share the live. Go to the Facebook, go to the YouTube page. Please subscribe to this channel, because we want you to get our updates when we send you updates to join us, because it will get very interesting here. We have a very interesting guest with us, and of course, she's here out of St. Vincent. She's the public relations officer of the Hyroon movement. And of course, this is not going to be a joke in St. Vincent, as they turn the fire up, turn up the heat in St. Vincent to keep things decent and in order in that country. A gentleman was shot. I want you to tell us about that story. I remember the story about the gentleman who was shot by this officer. And we're going to take it in stages as we move through this discussion tonight. He was shot. And tell us how that happened. How it happened? What happened? Talk with us.
There's a that Mr. Cornelius John, a resident of Diamond, he would have. So the story is his wife and the senator would go out during the volcano and the volcano, after the volcano, and do, I don't know whether charity work or whatever. And something, I don't know what story got back to the senator about what Mr. John had issues that with his wife always gone and never being home or to assist him as they have business together or whatever. She showed up one day, one night, uninvited to his home with the deputy director of public prosecution and another gentleman. According to Mr. John, they beat him until he messed himself.
Hold on.
Shot him.
Hold on. Beat him for what? What did he do?
Well, according to them, they would have received some word that he promised to do something to the senator. That's what they say.
How you mean do something? The man and his wife had an altercation.
Yeah.
How did the senator get into this?
Well, according to the wife, there was no altercation. It's so this story is just, I don't even know how to describe it. The wife says that there was no altercation when interviewed by a news outlet here in St. Vincent. She said that she wasn't aware of them having any sort of altercation or whatever. I'm guessing she didn't describe it as an altercation. What it was probably was, a discussion between husband and wife, like, I don't like this or whatever. Don't make me have to he might say, they'll make me have to stone Nyla or whatever. She took it back to Ashell, to the senator. and the
So
senator decided to.
hold on. So what is the relationship between who and the senator? Where did the senator come into this?
The wife, from reports, the wife and the senator are friends.
Okay, so you never see smoke without fire. Okay, I see where that is now. Okay, all right. Okay, so because the man and his wife
Yeah.
the man and his wife had an altercation, the wife took news to the senator that the man this and that and stuff, and then they tell us what happened from there. Talk with us.
According to the reports, the senator and the DPP, which is the Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, Karim Nelson, they showed up to the man's residence along with another gentleman and proceeded to beat the man. Beat him until he, yes, they, you know, they, the story is one of thugs and nothing more. You know, this kind of gangster living that we have going on in this country with persons who are charged with creating and upholding law is very sickening. It is sickening. Do something even remotely close to this. And if something like this were to happen, he would have been charged forthwith. On arrival to the hospital, and they realize that he has a gunshot wound to his leg, they would have taken statement, gone out and arrested the person that would have caused this damage to him. However, this was not done. This was not done, and it took Rise Haruna taken to the streets to get any sort of charge laid against them. And still, the right charges have not even been laid. Neither has the third person been charged.
Wow. So the man, the people went to the man's house, beat the hell out of him. And now if you didn't raise hell out,
That's correct.
If the Haruna movement didn't raise hell, a charge would not have been placed against against the offenders.
This is my belief. Yes.
And you're talking about people at the echelons of government in that country doing this kind of crap? That's what you're saying to me?
That is the part that is most sickening. That is the part that is most sickening. This senator is not just a senator in the House of Parliament. She is also the deputy speaker in the House of Parliament.
And if you didn't raise hell, nothing would have come out of it. Nothing at all. So what is this?
Absolutely
what's the current?
Nothing.
What is the current state of affairs?
It would have been a 9 days. The man would have taken a shot, and it would have been over.
So the man was shot in his knee, because I think I saw a report on it where the gentleman.
They have the.
Go ahead.
Shot in his leg. Yes.
The
situation with Mr. John is he can't work right now. He's unable to work. His hospital bills keep mounting. He needs financial help. He's a very proud person. Persons in the community, persons who have dealt with him would tell you of how hardworking he is and how it is truly, truly a sad situation to see him in. A man as independent and proud as he is, to now be begging for assistance to help, basically manage his day-to-day and his hospital and legal bills. It's really, really sad. It breaks the hearts of many. It does.
I saw the clip. I think it was a social media clip I saw, where I think it's a GoFundMe. I think I saw, where they were trying to raise funds for this gentleman to cover his bills.
Yes.
After being shot by the senator on his own premises.
Yes.
And if you didn't raise hell, nothing, not even that, not even the attention of government could have been brought to. Nothing at all. Wow.
As a matter of fact, the Senate, the Prime Minister made a statement very early on the matter where he said that after the incident, the senator would have called him. So that leaves quite a bit to wonder as to him know what just happened. You know what I mean? Why would you feel comfortable calling the Prime Minister to tell him this sort of thing? Why would you do that? What sort of advice would the Prime Minister now give to you about a situation such as this that would cause you to decide that you're not going to leave office, you're not going to demit office or anything like that? Now, I can tell you when the incident initially happened, Kareem Nelson, which is a deputy director of public prosecution, he excused himself from office, and he still is excused from office pending an investigation and all these things. The senator did no such thing. As a matter of fact, after charges, these bogus charges, and I repeat the word bogus because they too are just laughable. These bogus charges were laid, one charge actually laid against her. She made a press statement saying that she has no moral and something to leave the office. She has no moral obligation. She has no moral or legal obligation to leave office.
You mean you shot a man a man in the leg on his premises over domestic matter, and you have no moral obligation to resign, you said?
That's absolutely correct. No moral or legal obligation.
I need to hold myself with this one because in my part of the world where I'm from, I wouldn't tell you what the people would have done with that person. I wouldn't tell you what the people would have done, because when the day is done, this is criminal actually. If you are going to hold public office and insult your people to tell them that you have committed such an offense and you have no moral or legal obligation to resign, is that what you said?
That's absolutely correct. But what do you expect? If I could go shooting somebody or be a part of a crowd that shot somebody, beat somebody, put a gun into a man's mouth, threaten a man, and then I could pick up my phone and call the Prime Minister of this country and say, well, listen, this is what happened, you know. I mean, really and truly, nobody can say none to me. The Prime Minister is my friend.
So that is the level of that's the level of
corrupt.
That is the level of donmanship that is happening there, where your Prime Minister is the don and he has his friends.
We're living in gangster's paradise in St. Vincent. That's exactly where we're living. It's a gangster's paradise here.
A gangster's paradise. Huh? We're here speaking with Miss Nikisha Williams. She's the Public Relations Officer of the High Roon movement, and I'm sure they are actually going to be sending a very strong message to the government of St. Vincent in relation to what is happening there, as government officials seem to have the right to break any law they want, and shoot people as they want, mash up the place as they want, say what they want, when they want, how they want, where they want, and nobody can say nothing to them. Is this what our countries have become? I'm a little taken aback by this, because I'm not sure when we have gotten to this place, especially within the Caribbean region. I hope other Caribbean leaders are taking note of this, because I'm sure not everywhere in the Caribbean your people our people are going to accept this absurd madness. It would come at a very high price in some places if any politician in other places of the Caribbean region could do such slackness. It doesn't happen. Now you're planning a march. What's going to happen with that? I want to touch on what is happening down there with this COVID situation as well, because I think it now becomes a very interesting matter as we move forward. But what is going to happen with this march? I'm understanding that Miss Nelia John, is Miss Nelia John still there? Let me bring her in at this point.
Yes, I'm
because
still
I would
here.
Tell us a little bit about what is coming on. I'm sure you're planning a march as such. Tell us about that. What's going on?
The ground team, Rise Haruna, there will be a protest, as Nikisha has stated, protest action. We have never stopped protesting. It's been about 2.5 months now. We've never stopped protesting. But the last protest we had was last Thursday, where we protested at the Milton Cato Hospital because of the deplorable state, where there's a lack of medication and resources. The hospital itself, there's no bed sheets. People have to bring their own bed sheets and their own supplies when they go to that hospital. And there's been a lot of mortality debt, babies dying in the hospital, and the mothers aren't given the child and all this kind of crazy stuff. So we protested last Thursday, and we plan to protest again this Thursday, but this time we will protest at the Parliament. We've made it very clear that we will not stand behind barricades, and we will not stop protesting until justice prevails. One of the issues with the situation with Mr. Cornelius John is that the third person has not been charged. At first, the third person in the incident who trespassed on Mr. John's property, he was not named, and they refused to release his name until we pushed and pushed, and we've gotten the name now, but they have not charged him. And they also have not charged the 3 individuals, Ashel Morgan, Kareem Nelson, and the third individual with trespassing. They entered onto a man's property, and one of them shot him. The man, he's, as Nikisha said, he's unable to work, and we are not going to let this situation pass by. There has been past situations where the Prime Minister's son, Camelo Gonçalves, had an affair with a young woman who was a model, and then they slapped her with a charge of using indecent language on his wife, calling her a bitch, and she was arrested and brought before the court. And when they declared her as being mentally insane without any form of assessment. They then took her to the to the mental hospital in St. Vincent, and they administered.
Hold on. Is this a story? Is this real, or is just you making up stories?
It is very real. It is very, very real. And she was administered without the proper. There wasn't a psychologist who has the legal right, I should say, to administer drugs on a patient, to inject her. So they injected her, and then they dragged her back to the court. And then after that, it's very unfortunate, but that young lady is not of stable mind now. And nothing was done to the son. He was never asked to resign, and people just continue to let things slip and slide. I would say about 10 years ago, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines was accused of raping his security detail, Michelle Andrews, and he was also accused of sexually assaulting a human rights lawyer.
Hold on. Listen, I hope to God this is not propaganda here, because when it is done, I would have a serious problem with it.
It's not propaganda.
We don't do propaganda here, not on PSI Network.
No.
Talk to me now.
No, this is not propaganda. There is a police report. There's affidavits. and I was actually directly involved with the situation with the young lady who was sent to a mental home.
Propaganda. The only newspaper.
Hello?
No, I was actually taken aback. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay.
That one,
And so
that one shot the
you know,
goose out of me.
there's many situations. The Prime Minister has been also accused on several occasions of sexual assault of women. There's also Miranda Charles, who has accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was 15 years old. And so it just continues on and on.
Take a break here. Let me take a break and come back. This is too much.
Things are falling apart much faster than you can imagine. If you do not take immediate steps now to save yourself, it will get very serious very quickly. We must come together now to save ourselves economically, socially and spiritually. You must find a strong support system while you can, because things are falling apart fast. Be smart. Let us come together to survive the perilous days ahead. This is not about who you are or what you have. When the day is over, you will be left to face the harsh reality alone. The days of segregation are over. Don't wait until trouble set in and you find yourself up against the wall. Get registered with Lifeline today to secure support before you need it. Lifeline is not only the support giant of the BVI. Lifeline is the family you need to help you through the difficult days ahead. Don't be foolish. Nothing will get better. Save yourself now before things turn for the worst. Become a registered member of the Lifeline family now and we will help you through the challenging days ahead. You can depend on us. Find us at 4 Mill Mall or call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Yes, good evening, and welcome back to the Raw Truth. This is absolutely another amazing opportunity to be with you right here on the Raw Truth. This is PSI Network, and of course, we ask you to share this live with your friends as we continue to bring you some up-to-date information as to what is happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and across the world, across the Caribbean region specifically, as we open to you some very, very troubling news coming out of St. Vincent. I've always been hearing stuff coming out of that neck of the woods, but somehow, sometimes you wonder if something really goes so. But now you find it's coming from all different sources, and the people seem very helpless in relation to some of the things which are happening. And as a result, you're talking about protests and all of these crazy things which are happening right now in St. Vincent, as people try to get a sense of justice. Crazy. I find it absolutely amazing that so much has been happening, rape, all kinds of crazy things happening down there, and nothing is coming out of it. I can't figure. Listen, I am literally blown away. I can't see how things like these could happen in a country at the level of leadership, and the people are literally helpless in relation to these matters. I can't see how these things are possible. If some of these things happen any place else in the world, I don't want to tell you some of the things that would happen. What is happening in St. Vincent? When have we become such a docile nation of helpless people? Is it that the people have become so psychologically brainwashed to the point where if it is alleged that people are being ripped and shot and all kinds of things by government officials, and no one is able to even relate to this kind of madness? It is troubling, and if this is the new trend across the Caribbean region, then we're really in for some serious problems. We're really in for serious problems. We're talking with Miss Nelia John, and we also have a very special guest. She's the public relations officer for the High Road movement. And of course, this is not to be taken lightly. Very interesting information as they continue to protest these developments in St. Vincent. I don't think it is fair for the people of that nation to be voting in their officials. And this is the kind of madness that they're exposed to within their own nation. It's disgraceful, if you ask me. Yes? Our people deserve better. And any decent person in a place in the world will affirm that our people deserve much better than they're getting in St. Vincent. And now you look at what is happening across the Caribbean region, it is becoming absolutely very troubling. Absolutely very troubling. Very, very troubling. It seems to me that our people are now at a point where they're becoming quite lost in relation to some of the things that are happening there. Ms. John, tell us a little more about the protest, and then we move from there to other matters that we might have to look at before we close. Give us more information as to when will this protest be? When will this happen? Talk with us.
So it's actually going to happen on Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 29th at 9 a.m. in front of the Parliament building in St. Vincent. And, we're asking everyone to come out. Transportation will be provided, water will be provided. So we're really asking everyone to come out and lend their support. Vincentians need to understand the importance of their ability to protest. It's actually their democratic right to protest. No one can stop you from protesting. And, some of the things that we are protesting against is, of course, the situation with Ashel Morgan and Karim Nelson and the third person. We want the third person to be charged. We want trespassing charges to be laid against the three individuals that have been named. We also want the government to stop trying to enforce mandatory vaccination. We are also asking for accountability. We would like also for NEMO, which is the agency that distributes, they're the agency that deals with relief efforts whenever there's a natural disaster in the country, hurricane, volcano, and so forth. We want them to give supplies to everyone, not just supporters of the government. We also would like for the deplorable conditions at the Milton Cato Hospital to be addressed. When politicians, children, and themselves are ill, they get on a private jet and they fly out. Well, St. Vincent has extreme poverty, and Vincentians don't have that kind of money to hire a private jet to fly to Barbados or Cuba or wherever, England, the United States. And we want to start seeing these politicians use the Milton Cato Hospital. But we really zeroing in on the fact that this situation with Ashel Morgan, the senator, and also the deputy DPP and the third person, they must be held accountable for their actions. They must be asked to resign, and they must be properly charged. And these are the things, and we will not stop until justice prevails in St. Vincent.
Let me ask you this, because this has been a very serious point for concern coming out of the volcano, where perhaps millions of dollars worth of supplies have been provided by nations around the world to St. Vincent, but to date, people are yet to be yet to receive any of the supplies which were provided for the nation. Is this a fact? Can you give us more on this?
I think that some of the supplies has been distributed, but there's a lot of people who've never received anything. Rise Hiruna and other organizations, we're a fairly new group that started about 7 months ago, but we really stepped in and provided meals to families and boxes of, food stuff and clothing and different things that they would need. But Nemo has really not stepped up, and there's a lot of people who they've never seen them. They'll ask them for things and they'll tell them to come back, or they'll say, oh, you need an ID. Well, there's some people who don't have IDs, or they have left their homes, and the volcano was they evacuated in the middle of the night, and so many people left behind a lot of things. And so you're asking people who are evacuated. They're some of them are in the orange zones because the red zones have not. People aren't able to go back to the red.
Hold on. What has an ID or a birth certificate or whatever in hell that has to do with it?
That's correct, and so that's
you're talking about people who were chased out of their homes by this thing, running for their lives. Now they need food and supplies and whatever else, and some idiot is asking for an identification card.
Yeah, that's outrageous. And so we're really asking Nemo to distribute.
It's the people's fault.
Everyone.
It is the people's fault.
I agree with you. Because the streets should be flooded. I mean, look at Cuba. They haven't stopped. And one of the things that I admire about Cubans, those in Florida and Miami area, they've protested, they've blocked the roads. And so I'm actually going to speak about the fact that Rise Hiruna will be having a protest also in New York this coming Saturday, the 31st at 1 p.m. And we're asking everyone to come out at Linden Avenue and church at Linden Seaton area. That's what it's called in Brooklyn, New York. And so we're not going to stop until we have some kind of justice. But I'm really pleading to Vincentians, stop sitting behind social media, stop getting on radio programs and talking, and not taking the necessary action. Your country is in a terrible state of affairs. There is no accountability from the government. There's no security of our citizens. That's one of our concerns: sexual assault and murder. They've seized, I think, for the last couple of weeks, but it was every other night there was a murder in St. Vincent. The slaughtering of the young men and the guns on the streets. The unemployment rate is skyrocket. There's just so many issues that farmers are not being supported. Fisher folk are not being supported. And they have been affected both by the volcano and also by COVID-19.
But let me ask you, now that is the button I want to touch on. Because if the volcano was not bad enough, now you have a situation where COVID have the whole darn place across the region. Most places are locked down and everybody go slow. How are people living in St. Vincent as a result of this COVID-19 madness? Can you tell us a little more about that?
COVID-19 has really affected Vincentians. St. Vincent is already in extreme poverty, and those were words that came from the Prime Minister after the volcanic eruption. And so you have COVID-19, and then you then have the volcano erupted, all in a very short period. And it was already a nation that had a very high unemployment, and a high unemployment among the youth. And so it has really impacted them tremendously. Their main industry is tourism, and then I would say agriculture is second in line, because the government has never really given the support to the agricultural sector. And so there has been, where the country is in a terrible state, and people are living day to day. I've heard many stories where people are going to shops and just buying, a slice of cheese and two pieces of bread, or a quarter pound of lentil peas, or a quarter pound of sugar. And so the country is in a really terrible state, and it has impacted them tremendously. And now we have where the government has failed in rolling out the COVID-19 vaccine, because they have now they were forcing people, and the language that they were using was very forceful. You know, I'm fully vaccinated here in the United States, but I wasn't forced. It was by my own free will, and everybody should have that right, and that freedom of choice. And so it is quite disturbing that we start having a situation where companies or business houses are firing people who haven't been vaccinated, and I really don't agree with that. I think that where the government made a mistake was they should have said, okay, we have this situation of COVID-19. Here are mass testing sites. You know, here is a testing site at a school or different locations where people could go and be tested for free, and then start educating the people about COVID-19 and the importance of taking this vaccine, not just forcing it on them and saying, hey, listen, if you do not do this, and we do this to you. And so
But look here, it gets worse, because I just saw a release coming out of the CDC itself. And when I speak facts. And the report just stated that the PCR test has not been able to differentiate between the regular influenza or the common cold and COVID itself. Therefore, it will be scrapped leading into the end of this year. Just coming out of the CDC. Now, my question is, I am not sure how all of this is going to rest among Caribbean governments who are so dependent on this PCR test to ascertain whether or not COVID is present in people, which now opens a whole can of worms in relation to what has been happening with the PCR test. I'm not going to go down there at all. My question now is, as you rightly outlined, the exploitation which is happening on the ground, where employers are firing employees because they don't, technically mandating it if they don't get jabbed, and whatever else is happening as a result of all of this, which, as you rightly said, you attested to the fact that you're vaccinated fully. You endorse the fact that you're fully vaccinated. That's but you're saying it is as wrong as hell. That's very interesting.
Right. Well, it's wrong. It's wrong for people to be mandated, and I believe everybody should have a freedom of choice. You know, there shouldn't be a violation of your human rights or your constitutional rights. I'm just going to give an example here in the United States. I work for a nonprofit here, and I work in the sector of food policy, but the nonprofit has many different departments. And we received an email today for testifying in front of Congress. And one of the things that was written in the email was, you know, you have to actually list the people that are coming to testify, because you need an ID. It's, you know, they have to do security reasons and so forth. But one of the things that they did say in the email was, you know, if people are not, you know, if they want to show their vaccine card, it's by choice. However, if they choose not to, then they will then take the rules of the committee, which states that then those who have not shown their vaccine card, because it's no one can ask you to show that. It's by will, it's by choice. And so if you don't, then what happens is they'll practice social distancing and you wear a mask. And that was really interesting. And I actually plan to post it to social media, part of it, so people can understand that even here in the United States, we're going to go testify in front of Congress, but we're not asked for that vaccine card. If you go into a restaurant, it says if you are fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. They cannot ask you. It's against the law for them to ask you for that vaccine card. And so these are all things that people need to be educated on. I'm fully vaccinated. My whole household, well, not my toddler, but my husband is vaccinated. But I believe that people should be educated, and they should have that freedom of choice. No one's, I never believe in the oppressing people to have a result. I do not believe in that. And that's a stance that I will take to my grave. I don't believe in oppression. I don't believe in victimization. People should have the right to choice. It's like today, someone is saying to me, "You do not have the right to an abortion," and or you don't have a right to feed yourself, or you don't have a right to own a home. This is all oppression, and I don't believe in that. I believe everybody should have the right to freedom of choice, and our freedom should
Well,
never be taken away from us.
well, I tell you, ma'am, we are now at the place in time where all our unalienable rights are currently being are on the plate to be removed from before us if we don't understand that, and that is exactly where we're heading. The very things that you mentioned a while ago that we have the right to own and the right to do, those are currently being taken from the people across the world, literally, as we move into the new agenda. And it's very interesting that you highlighted that point, because many people are very afraid to even have a discussion on it, because they're afraid that people are going to become rebellious or even resentful of them if they understand that no one has the right to show anyone their vaccination ID. No one. It's criminal. My medical history is none of your darn business. None of your damn business. None. Yes, I reserve that right for me, and all of us reserve that right for ourselves. Yes, if I have a disease and I'm sick, then yes, I'll be in the hospital. But healthy people, why are we putting healthy people on the spot to poke them with an injection that they don't want to have? Does it make sense? And then you're going to find all kind of fabricated crap to tell people that it will do this and that to them when they're healthy children, healthy children with strong immune systems. And you're telling me now that you're going to poke this thing into the blood of children? I don't quite understand what the hell is going on. I think we have lost moral conviction when it comes to these things. Let us talk a little bit about the current state in St. Vincent. What are we seeing on the ground in St. Vincent? Let me go back to Nekisha to talk with us about that. What are we seeing on the ground in St. Vincent? What is currently happening there?
On the ground in St. Vincent, in regards to the COVID situation, we're seeing a lot of persons being quite rebellious. They're stating right away they're not going to do this, or whatever. Many unionized businesses have been calling on their unions to make statements and so on. I know of quite a number of unions which have the teachers union, the public service union, which are the teachers union is self-explanatory. The public service union covers all civil servants, including nurses, and the Police Welfare Association also they cover police officers. We've heard from the unions, and they have instructed their members that mandatory vaccine is a no-no, and they should, whatever vaccine they decide to take, if they decide to take it, should be their choice, and no employer has the right to push it down their throat. At one point in time, the government was also asking for mandatory testing back in April, no, before the volcano. I think it was the third term, at the start of the third term, the government had decided to, if teachers didn't want to do their testing, they would require teachers to do testing every 2 weeks. And if teachers did not want to do the testing and they did not show up with a vaccine card or whatever, they would not be permitted on the school's compound. It's so funny how quickly that went out the door, because the volcano erupted and they needed persons to man the shelters. Yes. So all of that went, they forgot about all of that. We even had one politician coming on live, Facebook Live, and stating that persons who were going to be staying in the shelters. Now, mind you, this is in the heat of the evacuation. This minister made this declaration that if you are not, you have to be vaccinated to get into one of the shelters, and you will be tested on and all these things. This, I believe, is one of the reasons why so many people decided not to go into the shelters and rather to try to bunk with somebody else or whatever. You don't get to force people to do something and expect them to simply comply. You will encounter some sort of resistance. I mean, we are predominantly Black and we know very much the fighting spirit that lies within each and every one of us. So this to me was completely absurd. We also have a lot of persons who are, and even though private persons who are self-employed, and they're stating very clearly that they will not be vaccinated. Till now, St. Vincent has a vaccination rate of under 20%. And I honestly believe that is going to be that way until the government comes with something more subtle to deal with the people. And they, because they have already tried this route and would have left a really nasty taste in the mouths of many persons, will not go.
Well,
you know what I mean? And for the protests and all the other issues.
Yes. Go ahead.
As for the protests and stuff, we have been mobilizing quite a number of persons from all of the constituencies, the Grenadines, the Leeward and the Windward side. And Thursday promises to be a pretty dynamic show out of persons, of Vincentians from all walks of life. You know, I mean, what we have, let me give you a joke. We have been protesting for well over 2.5, say almost 3 months even. And we have found that persons who are working, they will pass by, and the ones who are in support of the protest, they like, you go, they whisper like, keep it up, they might flash a little thumbs up, afraid for other persons to see, well, that they are in solidarity, you know what I mean? And while the others who are against, they would pass and they would screw their face, they would bad eye, they will throw their words, they will curse, they will whatever, but that's okay. That is perfectly all right. The fact remains that because we continue to protest, the issues that we are protesting about has not been swept under the rug. And that is a very, that right there is a milestone for us.
Well, you reserve the right to do what you have to do. It is your right. And when the day is done, I totally support the move to get the attention of the relevant authorities to address the madness that is currently happening on the ground, to make sure that your people are treated with dignity and decency. You deserve that. And no institution has the right to treat anyone in the human race any less than human or humane. It's absolutely, it's criminal, if you ask me. Absolutely criminal. Yes? And our people need to accept the fact that the way they are treated is 100% due to the fact that they allow it to be so. Because you can only be given, you will only be given what you allow. And this becomes a very serious matter. If you don't allow it, it can't happen. Mm-hmm. Yes? So these are some of the things that our people need to understand and take very seriously. We can't sit like we're stupid and allow people to abuse us and treat us like a bunch of crap. And you take it walking like you're stupid. Mm-hmm. It's your fault. Yes? So people need to understand that very, very fast and take the necessary steps to protect themselves moving forward. In all of this, regardless of what anyone wants to tell you that is put in stone in law, no law supersedes the Constitution. None. And if the Constitution is in violation of your human rights, no law supersedes your God-given right as a human being to live and work and operate in a way to establish a decent life for yourselves and your family and whoever else you and whoever else that are living flesh and blood human beings. No law supersede your natural rights as they stand under the law of liberty. No human being has that right to violate your unalienable rights as are established under the law of liberty. Yes, I don't care what statutes are passed and whatever else garbage they call law, because many things that are happening now are done under the color of law. Has nothing to do with law, nothing at all. And people need to wake up to this fact and get educate themselves, inform yourselves as to what in God's name is happening, and don't allow yourselves to be abused. It's your right to protect yourselves. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to have you to wrap up and talk to us again, tell us exactly what's going on, when it's happening, blah blah blah, and then when the day is done, I want to bring in back Miss John as well to give her closing remarks in a minute. Don't touch the dial.
Things are falling apart much faster than you can imagine. If you do not take immediate steps now to save yourself, it will get very serious very quickly. We must come together now to save ourselves economically, socially and spiritually. You must find a strong support system while you can, because things are falling apart fast. Be smart. Let us come together to survive the perilous days ahead. This is not about who you are or what you have. When the day is over, you will be left to face the harsh reality alone. The days of segregation are over. Don't wait until trouble set in and you find yourself up against the wall. Get registered with Lifeline today to secure support before you need it. Lifeline is not only the support giant of the BVI. Lifeline is the family you need to help you through the difficult days ahead. Don't be foolish. Nothing will get better. Save yourself now before things turn for the worst. Become a registered member of the Lifeline family now, and we will help you through the challenging days ahead. You can depend on us. Find us at 4 Mill Mall or call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.
Yes, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us. It's crazy right here in studio, but when the day is over, this is what it is. We are set to bring you the raw truth from across the Caribbean region, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm your host, Kenny G. Please share this live with your friends, because every Monday evening here at 8 p.m., we bring you the raw truth right here to all our people across the world. Tonight we're featuring St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course there is a development happening there where the Nairoon movement is having a very serious time making a statement to the government of that country that they're tired of the madness and they need justice. They need to be respected. They need what is just and right to be executed in the best interest of all people. Very interesting. And of course, we have two guests with us here, Miss Nelia John and of course, Miss Nikisha Williams, sharing with us some of the crazy things that are happening in St. Vincent. As we wrap up, Madam, let me go to Miss John as I bring her in so she can share her thoughts as we put the curtain on the program tonight. Where do we go, Miss John? In your closing remarks, what would you like to see happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines moving forward?
I actually just got the news that they had an election in St. Lucia today, and they removed the present Prime Minister after 5 years, and now have put in a new Alan Chestnut. They've now put in a new prime minister. And someone made the comment and said that St. Lucians are very progressive people. And if we put you there for 5 years and you don't do the work, we vote you out. Vincentians, I hope that you will take a page from the book of St. Lucians and remove your government. It's 20 plus years. You're going to move into 21 years shortly of one government that has been governing you in complete chaos and have taken you down a road of extreme poverty. So on Thursday, I am asking you to come out in your numbers. We want to triple the amount of people that were in Kingstown about 2 weeks ago. And we will not stop. Rise Haruna will not stop until justice prevails in the nation. People need to stop being oppressed and victimized. The government needs to stop mismanaging funds. The government needs to stop acting as a criminal entity. It's as if St. Vincent is run by a mafia, and this has to stop. Vincentians, I'm not asking you that we are taking the country back. It's a national protest on Thursday. Transportation will be provided, water will be provided, masks will be provided. Bring your placard and come. Bring your neighbor, bring your mother, bring your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle, your nephew, your niece. And if your children are old enough, bring them. Do not sit at home. Do not sit behind social media anymore. It is not working out. Just now, you're not going to be able to even provide a meal, one meal a day. And there are some people who cannot provide a meal a day for their families and themselves. So it's time for you to come out, because we don't know what is going to happen next in that nation. And we will not stop, as I said, until justice prevails. And for people in the New York and the surrounding states that are close to New York, please go out on the 31st of this month, which is a Saturday, 1 p.m., Linden Sit-in Park. That is where the protests will be. T-shirts will be on sale. Rise Haruna T-shirts, 15 US per shirt. Come out and support. We're also having a sponsor walk on Saturday, the 7th of August, and flyers will be pushed out soon for that. Please go out and support. Um, let us take the nation back. Let us take it back.
All right, and that was the voice of Miss Naila John right there, as she puts a cap on the proceedings this evening. Um, if you're a Vincentian, this is not to be taken lightly. I think the time has come for us to take a serious look at what is happening in your country and do the right thing. Miss Williams, talk with us.
Rise Haruna has proven time and time again that we are not just about protest. We are charity. We're an organization that we do as much as we can. And we will not sit by whether we have the entire nation behind us or not. I remember reading a line that says, it doesn't matter if one person is doing it and it's right, do it still. Not because a lot of persons are doing something wrong means that would make it right. A lot of times we find that as a people, because, oh, my friends are not going to go, so I'm not going to go. You know that this is right. You know that what we're protesting for is the right thing. You know that what we're standing for is the thing that is going to determine how our country goes in the next 10 years. A very dangerous precedent is being set when we allow governments to treat people as though they have no value. You have value. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines needs to understand that we are the government, really. They are just a small number of persons that we decided are supposed to run our affairs. And if they are not doing a good job, we, the people, are the ones that will decide if they have a tomorrow or not. St. Vincent and the Grenadines belongs to all Vincentians, whether you're living here in St. Vincent or you're abroad. And on Thursday, all voices will be heard by the government outside Parliament building. We will be assembling there from 9 o'clock in the morning, and we will not leave until Parliament Day closes. We will not leave. We will be there. We will not be put behind barricades either. The police are going to be there. We welcome the police to come through and show solidarity if that's what they feel like they need to do. What we will not stand for, however, is any sort of police brutality on the day. Bring one, bring all. Rise Haruna will be there, whether you are there or not. This is a time for us to stand on the right side of history. What will you do? Will you be silent at a time like this? The choice is still yours, my Vincentian people. Stand up and be counted.
Well, what more can I say? I think it has been well stated by both ladies. And of course, we urge our people in St. Vincent to take heed to this call. And it's your right to do as what is just and right for yourselves as you move forward into the 21st century. Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing the platform with us this evening. And of course, take care of yourselves as we move forward into the new developments in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All the best on your endeavors, and we hope all will work well for all of you.
Thank you so much for having us on the program. We appreciate tremendously.
That's a good evening.
Yes, an absolute pleasure. All right, so there you have it. Those that was our friends out of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course, again, St. Vincent falls under the spotlight. Quite interesting to note as we watch the development in St. Vincent. Other Caribbean nations are also watching very quietly. I'm watching the BVI as well. A small nation, but when you look at what is happening on the ground, it's quite interesting to watch. You might not hear a lot of talk, but I think our people are getting to a place of resolution where it's very clear now in the minds of many that they will not accept anything that is less than humane, nothing that is less than just and right. And when you see people get to the place where they make their mind up that hell or high water, if it is not just and right, we don't want it. It is something to be very, very careful about. Well, as I close, the CDC, I need to say that again, it came out very, very strong. I saw the article coming out of the CDC where they stated that the PCR test will be abolished because it is not proving very clearly that it is not showing a difference between the flu and the big COVID disease. There's no difference between the common cold and the flu and COVID. PCR test is not doing a good job, they say, and they're going to have it banned into the end of this year. Quite an interesting statement. Among other things that are coming out of the CDC, I'm not sure how many of you are following the CDC on their website. You make sure that you log into them and update yourself on the latest information. Don't be a fool. If the CDC is saying it, while many of the things I said earlier weren't making much sense at all, I think the CDC is coming very clean in relation to some of the things that are happening, and they're stating it categorically because they're now under pressure to do so. What choice do they have but to speak the truth on these matters? Take note of all these things as you move forward. Take care of yourselves. You still maintain the right as a person, as a human being. If you took the injection, it was your right to do so if you wanted to. If you don't, it's still your right to do so. Let no one force you into doing what you do not want to do. And after you have done it, let no man judge you, because that's your right to make that decision for yourselves. All I will say is you make sure that you understand the consequences of your actions. Make sure you understand the consequences of what you do. Because for everything you do, there will be consequences. Whether you take the job or not, there will be consequences. Yes, Inform yourselves as to what you do. Study. Follow the latest information coming out of the medical fraternity at the highest levels, with immunologists across the world and doctors of high caliber across the world. Follow the latest information coming from all across the world, and don't be a fool in relation to some of the things that are happening right now. I think our politicians across the Caribbean region they have made a fool of their people in many of the countries across the Caribbean region, and it is a disgrace to them as politicians. The people know this. They are very clear-headed about it. They know exactly what is happening for the most part. And where the people are foolish and have done otherwise than that which is just and right for themselves, they will have to pay the price for this. However, while no one is mandated to do anything, your decision remains yours. Do the right thing for yourself. Make it an informed decision. And make sure that when you go to do whatever you do, whether you go or not, it is upon very informed footing that you do so. Do not allow anyone to force you into doing anything, because there's no reason that you should be forced. There's no law which can force anyone into doing what is said to hurt you. If there's a law that is said to do anything that is said to hurt you, then it is not a law. It is a criminal act. And no one should be forced to do anything that you do not want to do, because there's no law which anyone can put in place to violate your unalienable rights as are upheld by the law of liberty. No law can violate the laws of liberty that are upheld for every living human being in the world. Okay? So just to make that very plain, so you understand exactly where you are. Inform yourself. I'm not here to preach, go take the juke or not take the juke. I call it the juke. I'm not here to tell you to take the juke or not take it. That's not my job to do that. You need to inform yourself as to what you need to do, that you will be educated when you make your decision. That is your job to do. All right? Guidance, peace. Take care of yourselves. Next Monday evening we'll be back. I'm not sure who's going to be here next Monday evening. As usual, we have some very interesting guests as they come on. The Jamaica Poetry Festival will be happening right here on PSI Network. And that will be an absolutely amazing presentation. It will be the largest online presentation of its kind across the world coming out of Jamaica. And PSI Network will be here to bring you that broadcast live and direct out of Jamaica. So make sure that you join us very on time. It will be happening, I think, here on the 8th of August. The time, I think it will be 2 o'clock here. I think it will be 1 o'clock in Jamaica. I'll be putting up the advertisement so you see it. And of course, share this among your friends, that everyone will know exactly what is coming out of Jamaica. The largest online event of its kind happening in the Eastern Caribbean region. And this will be broadcasted across the world. Nothing to take lightly. Share this with your friends. Continue to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching us via YouTube, please click the subscribe button. Share this with your friends. Ask them to subscribe to the channel, because whatever is happening here, you will be connected to some of the biggest events happening across the Caribbean region and the rest of the world. Guidance and peace to all of you, and take care of yourselves. Dominion and authority to all my people. Be strong. Be resolute about your position. Stand and be counted. Stand and be counted. Again, I say, stand and be counted. Do not allow yourselves to accept less than what is just and humane, because that is what the great Almighty Creator created us for, nothing less. Peace, guidance. All the best until we catch up next Monday evening, same time, same place. One love.
Things are falling apart much faster than you can imagine. If you do not take immediate steps now to save yourself, it will get very serious very quickly. We must come together now to save ourselves economically, socially and spiritually. You must find a strong support system while you can, because things are falling apart fast. Be smart. Let us come together to survive the perilous days ahead. This is not about who you are, or what you have. When the day is over, you will be left to face the harsh reality alone. The days of segregation are over. Don't wait until trouble set in and you find yourself up against the wall. Get registered with Lifeline today to secure support before you need it. Lifeline is not only the support giant of the BVI. Lifeline is the family you need to help you through the difficult days ahead. Don't be foolish. Nothing will get better. Save yourself now before things turn for the worst. Become a registered member of the Lifeline family now, and we will help you through the challenging days ahead. You can depend on us. Find us at 4 Mill Mall or call us at 540-4555 or email us at lifelinebvilimited@gmail.com for more information.
Lifeline Financial Programs, the gateway to a better future.